All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 693 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And today, we're going to be talking about some Southern, not State. That is my school, Georgia Southern. We're going to be talking about the matchup against Georgia State. Now, full disclosure, the next episode is not going to be till Friday because Thursday, I will not be having an episode tomorrow. I'll probably live stream or whatever the case may be. The game, my reaction to the game as it's going on, because the game is at 7:30. I think it's at 7:30. And I will be watching that game. While the game is going on, I'll probably have a live stream going on here so you guys can tune in. I'll give you an update sometime later on tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. But we're going to talk about this game because this is going to be a really good game. It has a lot of implications behind this game. The Georgia State Panthers come in at 6-1, 3-1 in the conference, and they're looking really, really good. Last year they were like a terrible team, even though they still beat us, which we'll get into that a little bit later. But they were not a good team. I think some of their fans could actually, agree to that. But this year, they're on all cylinders right now. They're looking really good right now at 6-1. They're technically at the second place because of James Madison, but they would be going to the Sun Belt Conference Championship if everything ended right now. Now for Georgia Southern, we're 5-2, 2-1 in the conference. Our two losses was against James Madison and Wisconsin, and that doesn't mean anything as far as this game. Because both teams are very evenly matched, and the way things look, it looks like this is going to be a knockout game. I failed to mention the only loss that Georgia State that they suffered a loss to was to Troy. They lost 28-7 at home versus Troy, which Troy is a sneaky team, and that's another team that's 5-2 and they're actually pretty good. So let's go ahead and get into this. If this is your first time here, welcome. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. I could be found on Twitter or X at VF Baller. And the website is firstandframerates.com. Let's jump right into this because I don't want to hold you guys up much longer than what's going on here. Listen, these guys, Georgia State has a lot to talk about. They have a big reason to brag, even though we're the more storied franchise. These guys had our number for the past, few years. You got to think about it. These guys have won 3 in a row on us twice, not just once, twice. Ever since we started this rivalry back in 2014, we won the first game, then they won 3 in a row. Then we won 2 games, and then once again, they won 3 in a row. And the last game was a game that we should have won that game. Woulda, shoulda, coulda is a big deal. Well, it's not that big of a deal. It only gets you laughed at. But to be honest with you, we turned the ball over 5 times, and they only beat us by 8 points. So that just goes to show you a lot of stuff was self-inflicted. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because now we do have a quarterback. And don't get me wrong, I like Davis Brent. I like him a lot. But he has 11 interceptions on the year. Now, albeit 5 of them was against Wisconsin. Look, we can't have that this game. Now, I know we're playing in Paulson. We're not playing at Wisconsin, or we're not playing at the place that Georgia State calls home. You Turner Field, but, that's a whole other story for another day. Davis Brent cannot do this. I think that's the only problem with this game. If we don't turn the ball over in that fashion, because I don't think we're going to have a problem with, fumbles or whatever, fingers crossed. It's just a passing game because everybody knows that Davis Brent could turn the ball over at times. That's something that's, could be a really big deal. And it's going to cause opportunities for Georgia State. Georgia State, they want that. They know that they got it last year. They got 5 from, not 5, but they got a few of them from Kyle Van Treese and a couple of fumbles from last year. And that really hindered our win because we could have won that game, but it's just too many turnovers. So once again, Georgia State is going to be looking for that. You got Granger, the quarterback. He's been playing lights out, pretty phenomenal. Almost, I ain't going to say, it's hard to say if he's played actually better than Davis Brent because you can account the 5 interceptions at the 5 interceptions at Wisconsin, but Davis Brent has a lot more yards. I would say Danny Granger's been more. I don't know if his name Danny. I can't remember. I don't know if Granger's been much more efficient, way more efficient. 130 for 187, 1632, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Carroll has been the bell cow for the team. He has 852 yards rushing already and 10 touchdowns. And the receivers, not too much to harp on. I mean, the passing yards, they throw about 200 yards a game, 230 yards a game. But the passing game, Lewis is their leading receiver at 561 with 5 touchdowns. Now, this is the thing that worries me the most is, like I said, Davis Brent. Davis Brent is going to have to find a way to not turn the ball over. If he doesn't turn the ball over and we're efficient going downfield, we should be fine. In my opinion, I feel like if we play it just like how we played the first half against ULM, we could run away with this game. The problem is we let ULM get back in the game, albeit that could have been some defensive situations. But I think this defense is going to play a lot better than what they did against ULM. To be honest, I don't think ULM necessarily played. I don't think our defense played that bad against ULM. It's just the offense just couldn't stay on the field. We just kept having 3 and outs, giving the ball back to the offense and gave them chances. Kind of similar to the what game that was that we had that same issue. I'm gonna go back and real quick and see. It could have similar to the UAB game. The UAB game was another game where we, was blowing the team out and we kept giving them chances to get back in. So that's going to be one thing that we have to look out for. Another thing that will help that, if Jalen White could find a way to get that ball rolling like he did last week. Last week he did a really good job actually running against ULM. Now I know that Georgia State, they only give up 118 yards a game. So their defense is going to be holding us up a little bit better. So that's something that to look out for as well. Let's take a look at our offensive line as well. Our offensive line has been somewhat of an issue, just a little bit. Haven't been as prominent as it was last year. I mean, last year, our offensive line was very good. I think Cal Van Treese only got sacked like 3 times. I know we have an issue. I ain't going to say an issue, but it's not as good as it was last year, where Davis Brent has been under pressure. Like I said, I think all that it will be negated if we can get the ball out quick or we can get the running game going. And so that's really that's the only issue I really have. Is just if Davis Brent can make sure he take care of the ball a little bit better, not try to throw the ball in coverage too much, get some guys in space. I mean, our receivers are absolutely some of the best. I mean, these guys can get open. There's so many ways to get around that, and I think our receiving core a little bit better than last year, where we did kind of hang our hat on Jeremy Singleton and Amari Jones a little bit more. And I know Caleb Hood had a pretty decent game too, but now you got more guys like Anthony Queeley, or you have Keaton Upshaw. You also have I think it's Jaden Barton. He's been stepping up lately with the absence. I ain't gonna say the absence, but he's been getting a little bit more playing time than Dalen Cobb. So that has been helped as well. So if we can do that, spread this defense out, find ways to get the running game going. Also, if we can get ourselves in order to, to actually have a rhythm in the passing game, it could make it a real long day for the Panthers. Because even though I like the Panthers, don't get me wrong, I dislike the team, but I like the way it's set up. I say this with anybody. I don't think any team can necessarily beat us in a shootout. You know what I mean? I mean, I just don't see it. I know that, Georgia State does have some, they've put up numbers. They put up 42 on Rhode Island, 35 on UConn, 41 on Charlotte, 41 on Marshall. But I'm looking at these teams, like the teams that they put up numbers in. I mean, outside of, in my opinion, Rhode Island. I mean, shout out to Sean Pell-Kisson. I wish he was still an Eagle. But outside of that, it's like, I don't know what these other defenses really look like. I mean, so I just don't know. I mean, even with Coastal Carolina, they beat them 30-17, but their offense is not as prominent. Like these other, well, I ain't gonna say what their defense look like, what their offense look like. I'll take that back. I just don't know what their offense look like. Can they put up those type of points? I mean, Rhode Island was the only one to put up over 30 for them against them. So that's what I'm saying. Like, what does these teams really look like offensively, where they can actually keep up or whatever the case may be? I mean, for us, I mean, we've known, I mean, you look at our last, few games as well. We've known to just constantly put up 35 plus. can Georgia State keep up with us on that end? And I'm not 100% sure because I think our defense is actually a little bit better than the other ones that we played against. And I don't have a problem with the defense. I think the defense themselves is going to be fine. My whole issue is us taking care of the ball. Let's us take care of the ball and make sure we put up numbers. I mean, even in all these games outside of the Wisconsin and the James Madison game, we've put up 35 plus, 34 plus. And even in the Wisconsin game, if you take away those interceptions, or if you take away a few of those interceptions, it's possible that we could have had up to 20 or 30 points as well. So I'm just looking at the whole aspect of this. It's like, it's going to be a closer game. I suspect to be a closer game. I'm not saying we're going to go in and absolutely dominate and beat Georgia State, but we have all the tools to do so. It's an evenly matched game, but we have all the tools to actually beat this team. And I'm pretty sure that they went back and looked at some tape. They probably looked at the Troy game, see what Troy's done against them to only hold them to 7 points. It's going to be pretty interesting to see. Like I said, I'm going to be watching this live on the channel. I'll probably just try to have it live stream so we can see how this goes in real time. But I just don't see any situation where Georgia Southern does not score over 25, 30 points. I mean, they've done it against everybody outside of, like I said, James Madison and Wisconsin. And, all the other games, they was 35 plus most of these games they've been playing most of the games they played at home. And they just play better at home, all intents and purposes. I mean, it's just how it is. So with us being at home, that helps. If we get the stadium packed, that helps. And then we turn around and take care of business and hold on to the ball, that also helps. So, Georgia State has every reason to brag. It's very hard to talk about them outside of the lack of attendance. I mean, they have like 7 people come to their games. But nevertheless, these guys are winning games. They look really good. They're bowl eligible, so they're going to be coming in with a chip on their shoulders. Georgia Southern needs to understand that this team is no pushover. They never really been a pushover, but you had some people from the old guard, not just coaches, but you also had some players, no shot at them and nothing, nothing disrespectful to them or saying nothing out of the way. But some guys on the old guard did not take this team serious. And in some cases it showed. And I mean, in some cases you could take, especially I'll say the 24-30 game back in 2020. I really believe that none of those guys really took the teams or took this team serious. They maybe went out there and played hard, but they didn't go in thinking like, hey, this is like a bowl game type atmosphere. Oh, this is like an Appalachian State type atmosphere. You gotta be up to the task. Because every time we play App, we played the hardest. No matter if we're in Boone, no matter if we're in Paulson, we always play tough, and it's always shown. Even when we don't have the top talent, we still play that team tough. This team here, especially when we got on the 2-game win streak back in 18 and 19, we really didn't take them serious. We thought, okay, it's good, it's tied 3-3. Now we're down 6-3 because these guys went in and took care of business the last 3 years. And kudos to them. I can't stand the team, but you got to tip the hat, especially when it's a team that's, pretty much should be a hated rivalry. But it's hard to say anything negative when they're sitting here beating us. The 2020 game for me was kind of like, that was a game that really, bothered me because they didn't take it serious. 2021, I get it. I felt like if we had Cam Ransom in the game, it would have been better. Only but the last game, we already know what happened there. The 5 turnovers. I mean, you can't do nothing about that. But nevertheless, this year, you just can't turn over the ball. We need to be much more solid. We play like the first half we did against ULM. We could beat anybody, including the Power 5 team. So that's basically what it is at this point. I think that Georgia Southern should pull away and win this game, probably by 10 to 13 points. It shouldn't be that big of a wide gap. I don't think it will be, unless we just overwhelm them with the crowd and the power of Paulson. I see this game being like a slightly 1 to 2 score game victory. So that's just my opinion. Hopefully we'll see how it plays out in the game coming up on the next, well, not the next episode, but on Thursday. I will be here live watching it. Hopefully everything will be on the up and up and I can live stream because I haven't really tested out my live streams, but I need to do them, and I need to do more of those. So we'll see how it goes. So if you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think, man. Southern, not state. That's how I look at it. They say state, not Southern. I don't care. We've been around a little bit longer, so I feel like we should hold the title. But Georgia State has been beating us, man. So it's not much we can say. But we need to change that, and that should change on the next time we play, which is on the 26th. So we need to make that happen. So I can be found on YouTube and Rumble, Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. Follow me on Twitter at what is it? It's X. Follow me at X at VFBaller. And the website is firstandframerates.com. All the links are down in the description if you want to support the show. I really appreciate it. I'm going to get up out of here. Thank you guys once again, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.